Hello, you're watching Oathbound Secrets, and today I want to talk about the unique culture of Dorset, which is the county that I live in, the south coast of England, Britain. And firstly, let's start with the name. The name Dorset, it is believed to have the same linguistic root as the word enduring. The Duro part of that word is where the word Dorset comes from. Dorset refers to the Celtic tribes who are called the Durotriges or Durotriges. Triges. Okay. and and they were called that by the Romans. The Romans, when they were sort of traveling, visiting, trading, invading, they call them the Durotriges or the Durotriges, and that is believed to mean something to do with the endurance, the enduring quality of these tribes, and the fact that they lived in hill forts. So I think that their endurance was to do with the fact that they lived in hill forts. And hill forts, don't think of them as literally being like forts, like fortified military kind of sites. They were just like villages, basically, on top of hills. Dorset is known for having the biggest Iron Age hill fort in Britain, which is called Maiden Castle. And I'm trying to remember the etymology of Maiden Castle. It's something to do with a hill fort. That's basically what it means. So, so this huge site is really, really fascinating, and there's been so much archaeology done in Dorset that we are constantly learning new things about these people and how they lived. One thing that's interesting about Dorset is it's very hilly. Lots of hills and rivers, luscious green valleys. A lot of it is very thin topsoil covering chalk ridges, and quite a lot of the south coast has these beautiful chalk white cliffs. These hilltop settlements were very much matrilineal or matriarchal, whatever word you want to use for it. Basically, that the women were more or less in charge. I mean, there's only so much that we can gather from like the physical evidence, drawing our own conclusions. But what they're seeing is that in the graves, it's the women who have all of the grave goods, and the men don't. And when they studied the DNA of the skeletons that they could find, they found that the women were all related to each other directly as, mothers and daughters, sisters and aunts, whereas the men were found to be sort of from different areas. So what it seems to be is that the women would stay in the hill fort as kind of like their domain, their property, so to speak. That land was very much connected to the women, and that the women were seen as like the source of the community, the center of the community. And that's why I refer to them as matriarchal, because a matriarchal community is one that is focused on the mothers as being the center, the focus, and the origin of society. They were not highly trained warriors. They were farmers, they were hunter and gatherers, they were villagers, they were just basic village people. And when the Romans came, a lot of trade was occurring. They were very interested in what they could purchase, and the Romans started issuing coins. Money started being used in Dorset, and the Romans were, building their lovely villas and their aqueducts and their roads, etc., etc. And eventually, when the Romans decided that they were going to be Christian, then they introduced Christianity. So yeah, the story of the interaction between the Romans and the Celtic Durotriges is, it's complicated and it's interesting. It's absolutely fucking fascinating. One thing we know about the Romans is that they were very much patriarchal. And when they came to Britain and saw the way that societies were organized here, they were like, what are these people doing? Why are the women in charge? This is madness. So they definitely had their criticisms, and they thought that we were just completely backwards and strange little Britons, strange people with strange gods and goddesses, strange rituals, druids. Druids are some kind of priestly class. Like, what were they? How did that work? We don't really know that much. And today, people try to kind of reconstruct, reimagine the idea of druids, priests and priestesses of an ancient Celtic religion. And there's a lot of people in Dorset today who consider themselves to be druids and Celtic pagans. And I think it's good fun using your imagination, your creativity, to kind of dream up an idea of a spirituality that is very much connected to the land, to the ancestors. And of course, we really don't know very much, but we need to just imagine, really. We need to use our creativity because we don't have that much evidence to go by. One of the things that requires some creative thinking is this lovely giant, Cerne Abbas, because he's a very mysterious figure. Who is he? What on earth is this all about? And different people have had their different ideas over time. One theory is that, he is some kind of pagan god. And who is he? When we're looking at him, he's carrying a great big club. And there are depictions of gods that carry clubs across like the Celtic world, Ireland and France, and we can guess that maybe he was something like that. I like to imagine that he is a kind of protective figure of this area, and that his club indicates both a kind of warrior-like defense, as well as a kind of a magic wand for blessing the land. That's what I like to think. And he's obviously a very virile, naked figure, and so you can connect him with the idea of fertility. And I think you can use your imagination to kind of decide who this Cerne Abbas giant is. His name actually means father of the hill, something like that, because Cerne refers to burial mounds that are made out of rocks, and Abbas means father. Hill father, maybe that's his name, something like that. And one interesting figure, really very, very, very mysterious. And there's another mysterious character in Dorset, the patron saint of Dorset, who is known as Wite, or her Latin name is Candida. And both of those names basically mean white. And I like to think that the whiteness refers to the chalk. So here we have a chalk figure. There are several chalk figures in Dorset and across the sort of southwest. And the chalk is a very important feature of the landscape here. We have the beautiful chalk cliffs, and we have all these chalk hills, and the chalk had various purposes. You can imagine like the little round houses made from kind of mortar that used chalk, or lime. That's how you make lime out of chalk, and there are various purposes. One of the great things about these beautiful chalk hills is that they filter water. So chalk is permeable, and it doesn't hold water, so the water just kind of passes through it like a filter, and then we get these beautiful streams of pure glistening water running down from the hills, very mineral rich and very sacred. And I think that this Saint Wite was a saint of the chalk streams, and this is my kind of interpretation, is that she would have been a kind of memory of an ancient goddess, a mother goddess of Dorset, of the chalk hills, of the chalk cliffs, of the chalk streams, this life-giving goddess. And that's how I like to imagine her. And I think that that we can kind of revive this idea of goddess worship and worshipping the deities or spirits that are connected to place. So looking around the natural landscape and understanding the divine nature of the land, of the sea, of the rivers, of the lakes, of the hills. So yeah, let me know what you think about these ideas. Leave some comments in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.